I actually have a Vulgar question.
Yeah.
It's not dirty, but Vulgar 2, there's a lot of talk about Vulgar 2. You know, Brian's been talking a little bit about it on the podcast. And my reaction at first is like, oh, that's great. But then, I don't know if I want to see that character go through all that kind of shit again.
Do you think I'd be fooled into that again? I was thinking more of the...
Scott should be the intern.
I'm personally thinking it's more of he should do the vigilante angle. Like, go rogue of helping free, like going after pedophiles and shit. I think that would be kind of cool if he took that angle. I don't know what angle it was. I mean, we spoke very briefly at Florida SuperCon. Ming, who's in the back there, he was there as well. And Brian and I get much love for Vulgar, which is great. It's a very bizarre, for those who haven't seen it, it's written and directed by Brian Johnson. If you're fans of Comic Book Men, AMC's Comic Book Men, who Ming Chen and Robert Bruce are here this weekend. Brian Johnson, back in '98, wrote and directed this film called Vulgar, which is based on the animation part of the original Clerks, that little cartoon where the guy comes in a clown outfit and then goes behind a dressing screen and comes out in this bustier and stockings and fishnets and stuff. And one day, Brian Johnson was talking to Kevin and about, like, what do you think that guy's life would be about? And Kevin's like, I don't know, I want to write a script about it. And so we did. And then a couple of months later, he called me up saying, hey, Brian, I wrote the script and I have you in mind when I was writing it. Would you read it? And I read it. I was like, not knowing what I was in for. And then I read it and I was like, what the fuck am I? What do you mean you thought of me when you wrote this? You sadistic bastard. And the first draft was even more creepy. Like, I had to put it down halfway reading it because there was, like, fecal matter involved. It was like a Scheisse film from Germany. It was crazy. And so, it was that type of thing. So that film got made. Kevin was producing 3 small films. He had worked out some weird deal with Miramax to have budgets, of micro budgets for smaller films, and it was this, Drawing Flies, and I think Big Helium Dog, and one of those. And so we were one of the 3, and we got to take it to like the Toronto Film Festival where Lionsgate bought it. It was great because at a screening, it was awesome. I think there was like 200 or 300 people in the audience. We get to this really disturbing assault scene in the movie, and about a good 80 to 100 people got up and left right then. They're like, what are we watching? I'm out of here. And it was like, so from there, it really got picked up, and we got distribution. So hopefully, after this run now, God, if that was '98 and we're now, that's quite a run since then, that if he wants to do it, I told him I'm game. I'd like to see an angle. I miss the fact that Brian didn't continue filmmaking. I think he's a great storyteller. As anybody knows from the Tom Steve Day podcast, his mind is just so working on such a different, warped level that, seeing him produce and write is just something I really enjoy.
For anyone who hasn't seen Vulgar, when I saw it, and I held off for a long time because I heard it was very dark, and I don't want to set myself off, but my impression was it was like it had the same feel of Clerks if it was shot in color, because it's 16 millimeter. I think it has a lot of the same faces, so it really is worth your time to have seen it. And I only saw the R-rated cut. And I was like, holy cow.
Which is a shit cut.
I know, apparently it was.
You want to see the theatrical version, which is the unrated version, which I have sale at my table, by the way, for $35.
So I only saw the cut. It was pretty heavy. Anyone else have any questions?
How do you feel about, watching the other Kevin Smith movies that have a lot of the same characters that they pretty much dubbed, like the Jay and Silent Bob, like Canon or whatever, those original movies that you were involved with as well? Like the evolution of those characters and how they sort of became the dominant characters. The Jay and Silent Bob became like the stars of the show, and they are kind of actually just boring.
Well, one of them is the filmmaker, so
I understand
I
that.
think there might be some slighting on that part. But no, you know what? The audience gravitated a lot towards those characters. I mean, you could put those 2 characters in any situation, and it's hilarious. I mean, you put Dante and Randall in certain situations, and Randall's just going to bum the shit out of you by just making fun of the situation all the time. So I'm glad that they are those 2 characters have their chain of movies, and they're interesting to watch. I mean, the Dante and Randall relationship, as you saw it grow from the first one to the second one, and even sporadically when you saw them in the Jay and Silent Bob movie and some others, you can see their growth as characters. And as one of the few who's read the Clerks 3 script, it's going to be an amazing arc for all 3 of them if and when we can get this 3rd one up and running. as soon as we find producers to do it that we're in the hunt for right now. Because the Weinstein Company has passed on their option to produce the third one, which is actually a good thing for us. That means we'll actually see money.
Now, Ernie and I talked about this on my show, but I want to bring it to you guys as well. I've noticed that in Kevin's world, there seems to be a little bit of magic that seems to follow the guy, or like uncanny luck. Have you guys experienced that? And if so, what is your story?
What do you mean magic on luck?
Like, what's a good example? You put me on the spot, I'm completely drawing a blank.
Well, you're asking me that question, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm just put the question right back to you. What do you mean?
Okay, just random coincidences that seem uncanny. I can't think of any right now because I'm totally on the spot and I feel the sweat coming down from my head.
How about the Tusk diet you were telling
There
me?
you go, the Tusk guy. The Tusk guy places an ad in a magazine,
And now it's a film.
and now it's a film.
Those type of little magic moments?
Yeah.
Marilyn?
That's a little more vague. But.
No. I haven't had that kind of luck, no.
You never ever found yourself making lasagna for some friend at work and did romantically?
Well, that,
Any type of symbiosis of that?
but wait a minute. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question.
Let's
We
call
all
it
are, don't worry.
let's call it uncanny coincidences seem to surround him. Like he decides that, hey, I'm going to make a movie on like a credit card that becomes a huge thing, a cult classic.
Well, it's like hitting the lottery, basically.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
yeah. I don't
He
know
hits the
that.
lottery a lot.
Well,
Yeah. I haven't had that kind of luck. I mean, as far as like what you're saying, it's like I did a podcast and I was like, let me make him a little lasagna. That's the first time I ever did that. But I mean, I don't know. If I'm understanding the question correctly, it's like, no, I can't even put it into words myself.
I mean, fortunately, I've never had the uncanny experience of being raped. Thus, oh my God, I totally relate to Vulgar now. Yeah, there's none of that magic going on.
you have something, Scott? You're oohing over.
You're-
Well, this is maybe overstating the obvious, but the magic of what happened to Clerks, we were all just as fortunate
Yeah, that's true.
as actors. So for me, that was a dream come true total, because I grew up really embracing underground and independent film and cult film, Rocky Horror, Eraserhead, this kind of stuff, Repo Man. And as a character actor, of course I wanted to branch out and do as much as I could, but my ultimate dream would be to be in a film that would gain cult status and remembered by the fans over the years. And I completely got my dream, So, I mean, I felt like we all got a little, more than a little, of that magic from that film. And Kevin's been, his talent and his fortitude, he continues to make what he wants to make and he's passionate about, and he turns any lemon into lemonade all the time, no matter what it is. He can spin bad press into good, and there is no bad press, and, all that. I mean,
Well, there is like a Jersey Girl and
I
Oh,
like
and
Jersey
Jersey
Girl.
No, I mean, whenever, I'm only joking, but what it comes down to is, whenever the studio puts their hands in Kevin's shit, it just goes south. If
No,
they
literally,
leave-
like, he takes it down and they go,
Yeah.
oh, what's in
Yeah.
there?
It's like, leave the guy the fuck alone. Let him do what he wants and what's in his head. He puts out gold. But once they start digging into him and putting, their own 2 cents in, that's when that's when he can't. Kevin cannot be restrained. I mean, ever since high school, since we were doing skits back in high school and grammar school, ever since we were kids, the nuns, the principals, everybody always tried putting some sort of restraint on him. But once we bucked the system and just did what we wanted to, and we didn't give a shit about the results, it was gold. I mean, we created some really cool stuff. We got a lot of notoriety out of it, newspapers and all that stuff. For young kids, that was awesome. And that just goes right into the movie industry. I mean, when they try to strangle the kid, it's a kid, but when they try that, it's not a good thing. That's why I say Mallrats, because he wasn't happy with the outcome of that. The studio got involved in that bullshit. But I mean,
But as a first-time director, what are you going to
Yeah.
say?
Oh, no,
I'm
yeah.
taking my movie away from you guys.
right,
You couldn't.
right. But I mean, as you can see now in the history, if you let him do his thing,
Right.
he's golden. Which, you know.
I mean, Red State's a prime example of that.
Oh, Red State's killer.
Completely
You haven't seen
different.
Red State.
Everyone see Red
It's an
State
awesome
here?
flick.
And Tusk, wait till you see Tusk. It should be awesome.
I've seen Tusk, and
Ooh, scoop.
no, you'll get nothing from me. But it's quite disturbing, very weird, out there, totally different from what Kevin does, and you'll be surprised. It's good. Michael Parks is outstanding, and it's a good flick. It's something that you're not used to seeing Kevin do, which is good because he's always stepping out of his bounds, which is awesome.
Brian Quinn from Tell 'em Steve actually posted a review. If you want to read, it's out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I won't say anything.
You got nervous at all? Anybody get nervous when a couple of years ago Kevin's like, I'm retiring from filmmaking?
Yes.
Did anybody believe it for a second? Not that guy.
Like
That guy.
Streisand retiring from touring.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was just weird. It was funny. When I heard that, I was like, no, he's not. There's some sort of ploy there.
Yeah, it's a bad week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going home. I'm taking my ball, my bat, it's my game. I'm going home. You can't leave, sir. We're not done. I take care. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. He's like, oh, man.
Question?
In the original theatrical release of Clerks, there was a different ending than what actually was released nationally. How did you feel when Kevin shortened that ending? And I also want to ask, what are your feelings in the addition of the animated scene in the 10th anniversary release of Clerks?
When I first read the script and read the ending, I didn't like it. I even approached Kevin about like, really, you want to kill this guy? He's like, yes, I want to. This is what the reality of it. Look at the irony. He wasn't supposed to be there today. He gets killed. It's a powerful message, and I got it. And I was like, all right. And it was never theatrically released that way. It was only festival. The one festival we screened it with the original ending. But we then added it as an add-on to the DVDs, which was years later because it was released on, as you kids who are younger don't know, VHS tapes. Have your grandparents tell you about VHS tapes? No, and then the 12-inch Laserdisc, with the first rendition of our beta, right? So I never agreed with the ending to begin with, and then when he got hooked up with John Pearson, who's a producer's rep, who represented people like Spike Lee and Your Generation stuff, he's the one who advised him and Bob Hawke that, this is a movie, a comedy, all you're going to do is piss off the fan base of liking this character to kill him off. Plus, we never would have the sequel. So there's that. And then, what was the second half?
Dante.
The second half of the question?
The introduction.
Oh, the
of
cartoon.
animated sequence.
Right. Well, we actually had planned to actually shoot that, but Polson's Funeral Parlor, the real place, just wasn't buying. Like, read the script. I'm like, absolutely not. We're not going to take part of this. So literally, we stole that shot of us in the actual filming of us running up. Like, we pulled up real quick and literally guerrillaed. Like, all right, you're gonna run up that door. I'm gonna wave my hand, and you're gonna run out like you're gonna tear out of there. And then they had the other two characters, Dave Klein, who was the cameraman. I think it was Scott, and then Ed Habstack in a dress with the long hair. That's actually the dude who's the hockey player who wants Gatorades. He plays the woman and stuff. So it's really funny seeing him get into that skirt suit to play that. But next time you see it, if you didn't realize it was a guy, it's a dude. And we stole that shot. So it was a scene that Kevin always wanted to do. So when we had, I think Powerhouse was the animation group that did that for us. When we did the funeral scene, this was a scene that Kevin always wanted to do, and we had the leisure for the 10-year anniversary to do it, which was funny. So then I still lived in the New Jersey area. He had flown me out to there to do the voiceover work at a studio, and he brought in Joey Lauren Adams and a few others to be a part of it. And even my girlfriend Diana came with me because she did a voice as well. And it was during the recording of that Kevin said to me, he took me aside and said, hey, I'm actually thinking about doing a Clerks 2. What do you think? I was like, what do I think? I think it's awesome. I'm a fucking working actor. It's a check. Yeah. What's the premise? And he gave me a slight little premise on it. And from that point on, that's when it was on. So it was good. And so I'm glad. And I missed it because we had done the animated series before that. It had to be the most fun we've ever had in general because we could do anything with these characters, go to outer space. Plus, in the recording process, literally we could record in our underwear, which we never did, but we were planning to do an episode where this episode recorded it in our underwear. You know what I mean? It would have been that type of thing, and we never did. And Kevin had like so many other episodes ready to go if we did it. So that was enjoyable to do that.
Best commentary on all of the.
Yeah, we had a blast on
You
that.
guys are pissed.
Well, yeah. I swear to God, when we were doing it, I was with my girlfriend, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. We're going to be on ABC. Do you know what that means? Yeah, just look at The Simpsons. I think at that time they were 8 years in. They're like, that's 8 years in. You know how much they're making per episode? Blah, 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 blah. I'm doing Simpson money. And then like, kick to the balls and the dildo with the razor blade in the ass later.
It's funny too because you guys actually bust on Family Guy.
Right. They were like, haha, you guys suck. You were canceled.
You'll never make it.
You'll never make it in this town.
It's so funny.
Because there's a scene where they go to the writer's room and they're reading Seth MacFarlane's How to Make a Cartoon book.
Yeah.
It's just funny. So, who's laughing now?
You did a great Stewie on that too.
Yeah.
Want to regale us a little?
Of Stewie?
Yeah, a little Stewie.
Stewie? No, it takes me a minute to do Stewie. We'll come back to that.
How'd you do Mohegan Sun last night?
Oh, I didn't go.
Ask him.
How'd you do it?
Look, he contributed to the local
So you
economy.
see.
That's all you need to know.
I'm supporting the community.
The Mohegan Nation is $300 richer. There are 15 teepees being built in some revision somewhere.
We got Scout.
Oh, are there any Native Americans in the room? All right, good. They're making all the money now anyway.
I'm part Native American. You are? Yes. I gave to my people.
There you go.
For those of us that may have not seen the original theatrical version, who did you kill?
I didn't kill.
Who got killed?
Dante gets killed.
Dante gets killed?
Gets
By
shot.
what?
By, there's an earthquake? No.
Yeah, shot by an earthquake. Yeah.
So the weird backstory I've always heard is if you watch the film and there's Jay and Silent Bob outside and he's like, I'm gonna fuck this bitch, I'm gonna blah, 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 and then all of a sudden Jay looks off, and is like, hey, doesn't that motherfucker owe us some money? And you never see, so you just see somebody in the window like run off. Apparently what someone worked out was the dude who owed Jay and Silent Bob money comes into the store, because the point of view is from them. They're looking at the floor, they go open up the door, they come in, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we're closed. And then you see the point of view, the gunman shoot, I get shot in the chest, I fall back, he walks behind the counter. Spoiler alert, by the way. And takes money out of the cash, I think, and then leaves. And then later on, Kevin, a clean-shaven Kevin, comes in and is like, hello, hello. And then he decides to reach behind, steal cigarettes, and takes off. And that was the ending. That was the original ending. So Dante gets killed by some dude who owes Jay and Bob money. That's from what I've heard someone worked out what it was.
Okay.
So don't do drugs because it gets people killed. Huh?
At least shot. He might not have died.
Oh no, no, you see the footage. There, I am hemorrhaging Hershey's chocolate syrup. It was black and white. We didn't need color, so it was Hershey's syrup. So just in case if you're shooting a movie, it's the perfect viscosity.